Hello and welcome to the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I'm your host, Karen Yankovich, and I am, as always, excited to be here with you today. Hard to believe we're coming up on almost 300 episodes of this show. It's been my absolute honor to be doing this for you, and I love all the feedback that we get. So thanks for listening and being here. If it's your first time, welcome. If you've been around, thanks for coming back. Today's topic is one that I talk about a lot, but I realized I've not really talked about on this show. So I thought it deserved its own episode. And what we're going to be talking about today is Q4, right? Q4, listen, Q4, I believe is a critical time in our businesses. There's certainly lots of opportunity to continue to land new contracts. I don't believe that, Christmas, nobody's buying, or at the end of the year, nobody's buying. I mean, it's just not true. People have budgets they need to spend before the end of the year. Like, there's a lot of good reasons to have some great marketing plans in Q4. But that is not what we're talking about here today. Today, what I want to talk about is as you are doing that, as you are creating and hopefully executing your Q4 marketing plan, I also want you to think about Q4 as the on-ramp to the new year. So this episode is going out in Q4 2024. So we're going to be talking about this as the on-ramp to 2025. And, what we don't want is to kind of wake up in January and go, all right, what am I doing this year, right? Like the planning, like I'm a planner. So the planning should happen regularly, but certainly in Q4, it's a good time to kind of reflect. It could be not only is it a great time to boost your end of year revenue, but it could be such a great strategic time period to set the foundation for a strong start to the new year. Okay, so we're going to talk about some actionable strategies for that. This is not just like talking the talk. We're going to walk the walk here because I want you to start to create that momentum now. And as if you've listened before, you know that I'm not looking for you to be working, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. I think the better job we do planning, the more success we're going to have and the less time we're going to be having to be sitting in front of our computers. And that's what I want for my business. And that's what I want for your business, right? So the strategies we're going to talk about here are going to help create some momentum for that. But first, before we can start planning what we want to do in the new year, we really need to spend some time reflecting and maybe even refocusing, right? I want you to spend some time and maybe put this on your calendar, put 2 or 3 hours on your calendar and reflect and refocus on what's worked in 2024. Or if you're listening to this moving forward, or honestly, you can do this any time of the year, but we're doing this as a Q4 exercise. So thinking back, what were your top performing offers? What were the marketing channels that you had the most success with? And what was the content that worked best for you? And then I want you to overlay on top of that, what were the offers you loved delivering the most? What were the marketing channels that you loved hanging out on the most? And what was the content that you most enjoyed producing? Because it's not just about understanding what's working. I also don't want you to be bringing anything into the new year that you weren't loving. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. We can only step into the new year with what we want to bring with us, which takes me to the next point. As you're doing this and you're putting a couple hours on the calendar and you're spending some time just reflecting on all of that, think about what you want to leave in 2024. What is it that you don't want to bring with you? It's an energy? Maybe it's a product or service. Maybe you need to change something. We've changed up our She's Linked Up programs as we move into 2025. I can't wait to share them with you. Actually, I started sharing with them with some of you. If you want to know what that looks like, definitely grab a spot on my calendar because it was time, right? It was time. That doesn't mean they weren't working. They were working. They worked phenomenally. But it was time to change how we were delivering it. It was just because the market changes, right? How I show up changes. What's going on in my life changes. So how I want to show up changes every year. So I want to think about that as I'm planning how I want to show up in the new year, right? And most likely, and this wasn't, by the way, we didn't scrap anything. Did we? No, we didn't scrap anything, but we tweaked things, right? So you need to spend some time thinking about what needs tweaking. What needs tweaking? And think about, maybe there's an offer that your clients got such great success with, but you know what? You weren't loving the way it was landing. You weren't loving the way you're delivering it. Maybe you need to just change the price point on it. Maybe you need to increase the price. Maybe you need to lower the price and pull some stuff out of some of your programs. We actually did that this year, right? We rearranged what we offered on the different levels of our programs so that we could offer a lower level, right? Because a lower price level, because I wanted to do that, right? So we didn't change anything. The system is the system. The system works. But what we needed to tweak was how we were delivering it, how much time I was putting into it, how much time my team was putting into it, how much one-on-one we were giving with it, right? So you need to think about how you can identify areas for improvement and be ready to pivot with that, right? And use the information you have. You have information, right? You have information from Q4 2023 or the year before. You have information for the year. Go back and look at it. Look and see what your biggest months were. Look and see what you were doing in those months. You know, it was really interesting. I remember a few years ago, I have, you guys have heard me talk about the fact that I've got kids and I've now got some grandkids, which is so much fun. Listen, I'm like many of you, I always feel like it needs to be me. I got to show up and I'm learning and I'm teaching you as I go, right? That it doesn't all need to be me. So there was a period of time that my one of my kids has a couple of kids, and then another one of my kids had a baby and asked me to watch them. And for a couple of years I had been offering to watch the older ones, and they just didn't need me. And then all of a sudden, in 1 month, everybody needed me, like as many days as I could do. And I was like, whoa, I had a business to run here. So I went from not doing anything to doing 2 to 4 days a week with my grandkids. Listen, that's why I do this, right? But of course, the universe was like, we're putting it all on you at once, right? So I did ultimately figure out a schedule that worked. But in that first month where I was spending more time than ever away from my business, I had the biggest income month I'd ever had. Let that sink in, right? It doesn't always need to be you, right? So think back, where are you doing things in 2024 that maybe it doesn't need to be you doing them, so that you can show up, number one, better for your family and friends, but number two, better for your clients, right? If you're not constantly swamped with busy work, you can show up better for everyone, right? So maybe call this like an end of a year mini audit, right? We have a business planning session. Well, if you want to know about the business planning session, message me, because I think we're going to make it available to you. We already did it. We do one every year. And basically it's less a business planning session and more marketing planning session. Again, thinking about what do you not want to bring with you? What do you want to bring with you? And then what are the price points of those? Because I want to see, can these products and services, the way they're priced now and the way you choose to deliver them, can they get you to the financial goals you have, right? So when you're planning all of this in Q4, you can hit Q1 running, right? And again, you don't have to run hard, but you got to keep moving. You got to have that momentum going, right? So you want to have this little bit of an audit to see where you've succeeded, what you can streamline, where there's new opportunities. Maybe there's something new. Maybe this is the year you're going to get your book written, right? And I want you to leave lots of white space, because I want you to be able to take on the opportunities that drop in your lap as they come, right? So it's not about filling 2025 with marketing. It's about getting clear on how the products and services you have, how they're going to work as you move into the new year, and starting to think about that marketing calendar. For 2025. Are you going to do a launch? Are you going to do, like, one of the things we're going to be doing in 2025, and I'm sure you'll hear more about it, is, and some of you might be hearing this for the first time if you're one of my clients, we're going to do a push month. Right? We're going to do it live, and then that'll be something I can offer as a part of my program as a bonus, right? But we're going to be live because maybe you just need to do a push month, right? And we're going to do it live together, right? 1 month, and I don't have to tell you when it is right now, but we're going to do that that's one of the things we're doing in 2025, because I want that training, once I've done, to be available to the people in my program. So if they have something coming up, listen, maybe your kid's getting married and you want an extra 20 grand. You want to just be able to walk into the bridal dress shop and say, pick whatever you want, right? So maybe you want to do a push month. You don't have to push all year long. Maybe you want to do a push month, a month where you really show up more and you bring in extra 20 or 50K, right? So we want to put all that on the calendar, but first we need to kind of think about what was happening last year, and then we can start to look at where we're going to lay all this stuff as we move into the new year. And that's what we do in the marketing planning training that we've got in our She's Linked Up marketing planning training. So the first thing you want to do, though, before we even kind of get into the Q1 stuff, is really think about, It's the middle of November, okay? So you've only got a few weeks left, and maybe you want to take some time off at the end of the year. So what are the one or two high impact goals that you want to be doing this year, and this before this year ends, and then align that with your New Year's intentions? Maybe it's increasing your brand visibility. Maybe it's reconnecting with old clients. Maybe building your leads, right? Maybe just building your email list, right? Think about what those goals are for the rest of this year, and then how they align with the goals as you're moving into the new year. Okay. Because you want that to naturally flow into your larger New Year goals. For example, if you want to do like a launch or a push month in January or February, you may want to be doing some list building in November, December 2024, right? The on ramp. So if you haven't done that list building, you're hitting that cold when it starts. But if you spend some time now doing it, right, you can implement the things now that naturally flow into your larger goals for January, February, and March, creating alignment, creating continuity, right? We love this stuff. We love this stuff. And then, let's put some actionable steps in here. What are you going to do, right? What are you going to do that? Are you going to, are you creating a new lead magnet? How are you going to get it out there? Are you going to market it? Did you create it yet, right? Maybe you want to revamp your LinkedIn profile and talk about it just for a couple months. You want to just show up on LinkedIn just talking about your freebies so that you're doing more list building, right? Maybe if you do want to bring in some higher ticket leads between now and the end of the year, maybe they're nurturing. Maybe you want to put on your calendar 2 hours twice a week on LinkedIn where you can be nurturing some high ticket opportunities, right? Some high potential leads. And, these are all the things you're going to be doing in your on ramp to 2025, right? You're also going to be wanting to spend this time building relationships, reaching out to your past clients and leads. Holidays are a great way to do that. Maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but on LinkedIn, you have the opportunity to do little videos. You can do a little video message. Send a little video message to past clients, just saying, I was thinking about you as the year's wrapping up. I hope 2024 was good for you. We've got some new things happening in 2025. If you want to hear what I loved the work that we did together. There might be some opportunities to work together, and I'd love to tell you more about them if you're open to that. Either way, have a beautiful holiday, whatever, right? Think about that, right? Think about that now. You can be doing that now. You can be using Thanksgiving videos to be grateful, right? I'm just grateful for the time we got to spend together. So you can be, you don't have to wait to the new year to wish people a happy new year. You could be just, any time of year, or again, we're talking about Q4 here, but again, you're seeding this. If in 2025, you want to have a high ticket mastermind, or you're going to be running a retreat somewhere, it's a good time to reconnect with the people that you might want to offer that retreat to come Q1, right? So reaching out to those past clients and leads, create a warm list of people so that when January comes, you've got this warm list of people to reach out to. Make sense? Do some networking, right? Think about what your networking is going to look like in 2025 and maybe set the ground for it now. Maybe you want to join some organizations. Maybe you want to go to the holiday party for your local chamber of commerce. Maybe you want to, again, just do some research. What's happening and how are you going to be networking? How are you going to be building your network in 2025? And what can you be doing now, right? So that you can set the stage for that, so that, again, you hit the ground having success. And I really love the holiday themed engagement ideas, right? Like, I'm grateful for you around Thanksgiving, or, as the year wraps up. I was thinking about the work we did earlier this year. I just think, it's just a really nice way to show up in ways that it just gives us it gives us something to talk about, right? I guess you could kind of call it newsjacking. But it's not really specifically newsjacking, because your newsjacking is there's a story happening and you're trying to find out how you can make a timely association with that news story with your business. This is sort of like taking the seasons and thinking, how can I, what can I do to use the seasons to do some outreach? You can create lead magnets, end of year lead magnets. You can create, one of the things we're going to do, and if you haven't heard this yet, you are hearing it here for the first time. By the way, I've never done this before. We're going to be doing some Black Friday week specials. I have never done this in my life, but I thought, why not, right? Why not try it? Because that's one of the ways, little insider secrets, that I can see what offers are landing with my audience and they want more of. And my 2024, part of my 2024 Q4 on-ramp is to do a Black Friday. We're going to do 5 days of specials, Black Friday week. So keep an eye out for that. If you want early bird access to that. We've got an early bird bonus. DM me and I will let you know what that looks like. But we're going to be doing that. And again, we're going to be making some new things you've never heard before that we've done. We're pulling some things out of our program and making them Black Friday offers. And we're maybe doing some things that you just have seen before, right? Maybe we're going to do a little bit of a buy one, get one for one day. Like, we're testing things, right? We're testing things because I want to know what I want to bring into 2025 so that I can have that success that I'm really looking for in 2025. That makes sense? You can offer special end of the year promotions, holiday offers, bundle some services, early bird rates. If you have a program, if you've got a 2025 program, maybe you have some early bird rates for that now, right? Again, reach out to past clients, reach out to existing clients. Maybe you can have an offer for them if they sign up for all of the next year, right? They can get some kind of a bonus with you. Visibility campaigns. What are you going to do to show up? Listen, I want you to be authentic. I want you to show up live, but there's lots of things you can pre-schedule. Lots of things. You guys know how well Reels do, even on LinkedIn, right? Reels are doing amazing on LinkedIn. We've got our little video tab now on LinkedIn that we've not had before. Create that now. Get it all out of the way so that you can relax come December if you want to take a week or two off, or even the whole month, right? Create a lot of it, but that doesn't mean your visibility campaigns have to stop just because you're taking a break. Right? You may or may not, like, you could turn your phone off and that makes me very happy. Right. But you also might want to, pop in every now and then and just jump into comments, or maybe have somebody on your team do that for you. Right. Because you do want to stay top of mind. So as you move into the new year, people remember who you are and they're excited to work with you. Right. So I want you to think about this for a second. I want you to take a beat here. Obviously, if you're driving, don't do this. But if you're not driving, maybe close your eyes for a second and think about starting off the new year with this on-ramp of preparation, so that when you offer your offer in January, you've already got people kind of like pre-sold for it or raised their hand for it. I want no more, right? This foundation you set. Think about how nice it's going to be as you move into 2025 with a plan, right? With a plan, part of the work we do in our marketing planning training, which is actually going to be one of the Black Friday offers. You'll be able to get that. Is, do you want to be interviewed on podcasts? How many? Well, how are you going to get them? Do you maybe want to sign up for a podcast, like a service or something? Like, how are you going to get them? These are all things we help you with. But think about this. You've done all that in 2024. Now 2025 is here, and you look at your calendar and you've got those podcast interviews on the calendar, building your credibility, building your visibility, right? You've already done the prep work. Now in 2025, you're just rolling it out. And it's happening and it's bringing new people in, right? So I want you to just kind of spend a minute thinking about how amazing that would feel. And that all has to happen now, right? As opposed to it's January and you're like, all right, what are we doing this year? Right? What are we doing this year? So I guess what I want you to do, the reason I did this episode is I want you to take Q4 seriously as the on-ramp to something bigger. The groundwork that you lay now can pay off exponentially. I'm not kidding you. This is where it happens. In our marketing planning training that you'll have an opportunity to grab during Black Friday week. We actually have a Q4 tracking in there as well, because I want you to start it now so that when the new year comes, you're just rolling it right into it. Okay. You're just rolling right into it. So I hope that I've inspired you to see how you can take some time in the next couple of weeks to really set yourself up for amazing success in 2025. I'm here for you. Archie's Linked Up programs are the content is, we redo the content all the time, but the content was all new as of last year, I think, or a year and a half ago, maybe. But we've reworked a little bit about how we're showing up in these programs so that we can make a couple different levels available to you. I've also, for the first time, got a platinum level. If you want to work one-on-one with me for an entire year, we've got the opportunity to do that. I'm so excited about that. I can't even tell you, because I love being able to really dive deep with you. So if you want to know what that looks like, or if you just want to talk, just book some spot on my calendar. Go to KarenYankovich.com/call. It is the way to learn more about what's going on. Keep an eye out in your inbox. If you're not on our email list, DM me that you want to get on the early bird list, and I will get you on the early bird list and for the Black Friday deals, because we do have a special bonus for that. And, if this was helpful to you, I'd love for you to share this with your audience. Just take a quick screenshot and share this episode with your social media audience. Make sure you tag me. I'm Karen Yankovich, at Karen Yankovich everywhere. You can use the hashtag Good Girls Get Rich as well. And those two things help me see it, because if I see it, I can share it with my audience. And then I get to get, you've shown up for me. I want to show up for you. Right. So it gives me a way to do that. So I would love for you to do that. I'm here for you through Q4, in Q1, whenever you're looking for it. We've got some great episodes as we go through the rest of 2024. I can't wait for you to hear them. So we'll be back next week with another episode of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I'll see you then.